What is up, guys? It is James and I'm back with another video. So today, this was a highly requested video. I'm going to be doing a backtest video for you guys, show you guys my thought process, try to do my absolute best with explaining trades I do take. And yeah, I'm just going to show you guys, hopefully you guys understand the strategy through this backtesting strategy. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. And you can also DM me on Instagram if you want. I'll leave my Instagram in the description down below. But here we are on FX replay. We'll choose a random month. Random month between 2023 and 2025. Let's see. July 2024. Okay. So let's make a session real quick. YouTube. Hope your guys' Christmas is going well. It was just Christmas yesterday, but hope you guys had a good Christmas. Yeah, let's do July 2024. Okay. Okay, cool. So I'm not going to do the whole month. I'm just going to try to do I'm just going to try to do get like 5 or 6 trades in, just to show you guys my thought process. But doing a whole month just takes too long. So next day open. Okay, so cool. So first thing I always do when starting my analysis, I have a pre-market analysis. So I always start on the higher time frame. Where is price trending? So for that, I look at the higher time frame, look at the 4-hour, and see exactly where price wants to go. And looking off of this 4-hour time frame, this just looks like a big range. Price isn't really going up or down. It's kind of just going sideways, which is not the conditions we want as a continuation trader. We want it trending in one direction, either going up or down. And just looking at this 4-hour time frame doesn't look very good. So we'll see. We'll hop on over down to the 1 hour. I'll use the 1 hour a lot as a higher time frame. And right now, off of this, still looks pretty bad, pretty sideways. Looking at this, just off of this 1 hour time frame right here, we do have this 1 hour gap right here that could potentially get respected. But if it doesn't get respected, then we'll look at these highs right here. So that is sometimes what I like to do with using gaps. I don't just look at them to see if they get respected or disrespected and then taking continuations off of it. I also look at it as conditions and see if it wants to get displaced through, then that will tell me the direction of where price wants to go. So I'm going to be using this 1 hour gap right here to see if price wants to respect it. If it gets respected, then we can potentially look at lows, and the low I would target is this low right here. And if it gets disrespected, then we'll look to target this high right here and potentially this high right here. But that's all I can see for today. We're going to see if we get entry to either of these draws right here. But looking at the 5, yeah, so it looks like we are trending higher. So we'll see if we continue to displace higher. So we do have news right here. We have to keep that in mind. So yeah, let's just keep playing some candles, see what happens. So it looks like we are going to take this draw right here. Not sure if we're going to get an entry to it. Let's see. Yep, no entry. So now my next thing after a draw gets taken, I see if we continue past this draw and if we want to continue to the next draw. If we start chopping around or if we reject off of it, then I look to just move on to the next day or potentially target this low right here. So let's see what happens. So okay, it looks like we're displacing through. So I don't want to enter off of right here just because I don't think this is a safe entry right here. There is a chance that you can get retraced on since we did already take this internal high. So I'm going to look for it to displace a little bit more and then hopefully get something like where's the path? Is there a path? Brush path right here. So we're going to look for something like this. Basically, let me actually favorite that because I like to use that a lot. So let's see. Hopefully we do. Okay. So we did just tap into this 1 minute gap right here. This is not the best retrace right here. But I don't think we're going to get any entry to it. So I'm going to take a trade like this right here. And then basically, yeah, this is really not the best retrace, but we already displaced higher. And I don't think logically we're going to want to come back lower if we want to take this high. So I'm going to take this right here. And I'll look to go break even after a next candle if we displace through. Okay, nice TP hit. So first trade, I want to get like 5 or 6 trades in just to kind of explain my thought process. So yeah, let's see. Next day. Cool. So remove the drawings. Same thing again. Let's go ahead, mark our higher time frames. So looking at the higher time frame right here, it looks like we had just taken out this buy side liquidity right here, and it looks like we want to reject off of it. So whenever I'm trading, I like to see, when looking at continuations, if we're in a long, if price is trending higher, we do higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, something like this. So when price takes out some sort of liquidity like this, whenever it takes out sell side liquidity, in order for it to continue higher, it needs to first rebalance into some sort of gap. And then once it rebalances, that's when you can go ahead and take out another buy side liquidity like that. So looking at this, if you were to look at this, we took out some sort of buy side liquidity right here, higher time frame buy side, and now it's looking to rebalance. And where can it rebalance to? This gap, this 4-hour gap right here. Looks like we slightly edged it. We do have this 4-hour gap that it rebalanced into, but there is a good possibility that we continue down into here. So looking at the 1 hour, yeah, it looks like we want to take that. I don't think we'll get an entry to it just because we're so close to it already. So I'm expecting in 5 minutes to not look great. So whenever we see choppy price action like this, whenever we see like it's chopping, that's when we don't want to enter. We want to see conditions where price is looking nice, ranging in one direction and not looking like a barcode like this. So don't really think we'll get entry. This right here is just not very appealing. This is the type of conditions you don't want to be trading in. So, and wow, we're shooting up actually. So let's see, where could price potentially go? So the only really high I see is this one right here. So if price continues to shoot up there, then we can look to target this. But first, we want to take account of any gaps that could potentially reject off of. But looking at the 15-minute, there's really no gaps. 1 hour, really no gaps. I'm not really sure if there's an SMT with ES, so I can't really check with there, but it looks like we are shooting up. So we'll see. Just keep playing more counts and we'll react off it. So yeah. Okay, well this is not very nice price action here. This is kind of choppy, so I don't really want to engage in this. I kind of have to wait for a next candle, but this is not very nice. I kind of need to wait for another candle. Yeah, this is not nice. Okay, looks like we're gonna hit that. Wow, okay, big. Looks like we have data highs and data lows. So that's also another draw. We did just take out this liquidity right here, so there's a chance that we reject off of it. So we do have data highs and data lows though that we could potentially target. I would preferably like data lows, but I don't think we'll get entry just because we're so close to it already. And we're also in a range. The 5 minutes does not look great. Looking at this 5 minute right here, this is what you don't want price looking like when you enter. You don't want to see all these wicks right here. If you see a bunch of wicks, that means on a lower time frame, it's choppy. And if looking at the 5 minute, you see all these wicks, looking at the 1 minute right here, this is not what you want to be engaging in. So yeah, we could definitely hit one of these data highs or data lows, but it's not, you don't want to be taking trades in low probability conditions. So just look at that. Next two candles I played, up, down. It's just chopping around. That is something you do not want to be engaging in. So we'll see what happens here. You're just ranging. That is exactly, see, when conditions are bad, just stay out. So we'll just hop on to the next day. So hopefully we got a couple of trades in. I don't want this video to be too long for you guys. I just want to get a couple trades and show you guys what my thought process. So we just took out this buy side liquidity right here. Now we need some sort of retrace. We're getting a little bit of retrace, but I would prefer to retrace into this 4-hour gap and right here. So we can target this as a draw liquidity. If price doesn't want to get there, then look to target this high again. So coming back down to the 1. Just looking at this 1 hour time frame, this is very what I'm talking about. You don't want to be trading within this choppy time frame here. If you look at the 1 hour, if 1 hour is looking this choppy like this, then the 5 minute, 15 minutes is not going to look great either. So yeah, oh my god, that is just ugly. So okay, let's see. Oh my god, that's very not nice. So okay, looks like we're going down. That's why you want to wait. So when you see, oof, god, that is not nice at all. So whenever you see this, you do not want to be taking any trades in this. You just want to wait for the market to show you that it wants a trend in one direction. Once you get a trend in one direction, that's when you want to wait and then see where the draw liquidity is. The draw liquidity is this 4-hour gap. Then you just want to look for some sort of retrace, and then if you don't get a retrace, then you just simply won't get an entry. So hopefully we get a retrace in this. I'm not sure if we do. Yeah, we don't. So that's unfortunate, but you just got to be fine with it. So is there anything lower to go? Nope, nothing really lower. So let's see if we get a rejection off of this. Let's see if we can target higher. Yeah, so we're just stalling. So we'll go to the next day. Okay, is this data high or data? Okay, so it looks like we have a data low all the way right here. And then we also have a data high all the way up here. What is this? I'm not sure. 530. Not really sure. That is a big wick though. So those are going to be the two targets. Overall, we are bullish and we have nice data lows and data highs. So I'm going to be looking to target data high. Looking at this 15 minute. Don't really have any gaps on a 15 minute, 5 minute. Really no gaps. There is this 1 5-minute gap that's getting displaced through. So if it's getting displaced through, then logically we should be going higher. So looking at the 1 minute, let's see if we get an entry towards this data high. So we are going bullish, getting a nice retrace here. Let's see if we get any confirmation out of it. This is not quite enough for me. We are tapping into this 5-minute gap or this 1 minute gap right here, but I do need like a second candle just to see if we truly are going to continue up, going higher like this. I don't like entering off the first candle. I like to wait for a second candle, and sometimes I'll enter mid candle if there's good volume, but this candle right here is not enough for me to just enter off of, just because there's a chance, you know, that we do go deeper first and then go higher. So I do need a second candle. Hopefully we don't just shoot up. That's just one of the cons of backtesting, because you can't really take mid candle enter. So hopefully we get some sort of entry where we can enter right here. See, that's why you don't take a trade off of the first candle. You want to wait for a second candle. Okay, that's nice right there. So we're going to take this right here, have my stop at the bodies right here, and then we'll go target this data high, go break even after taking this internal high right here. So place an order right there. Okay, we took that internal high, and logically this is where we should be going. I don't want to go break even just because I feel like we'll get wicked out. So I'm going to wait for a second candle. That's just the risk I'm willing to take. Okay, nice. Go break even there. Cool. Don't edge me. God. I'm going to trail my stop loss right here. I do not want to get edged. Oh my god. That is so unfortunate. Okay. I don't know. Maybe there's an SMT with ES, but yeah, that's unfortunate. Good thing I trailed, but literally like a tick away, a point away from hitting TP. Wow, that is a big displacement down. Okay, that's unfortunate. Well, that's the second trade. That's kind of how I just look at trades. Just see what fair value gaps are getting respected and disrespected. Looking for some sort of retrace into a gap and then getting confirmation out of that gap where you can go break even, and I go break even at internal highs, internal lows. Once these get taken, then I go break even and I have a risk-free trade. So unfortunate that I got edged right there. So that's 2 trades. Let's try to get 3 more trades in. Cool. So start out on the higher time frame. Let's see what we're working with. Okay, so looks like we are making higher highs. We're clearly bullish. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Looks like we're putting in a higher high now. So it looks like we already did take this right here, which is unfortunate because that would have been the main draw. So now price can either continue higher or it can rebalance. But looking to our left, there's really nothing to target. So there's really not much for today. We could, I don't really know where we can rebalance. If we rebalance, maybe a 4-hour gap, like, or this low right here, or there's a 4-hour gap right here actually. That's almost opened up, but I would consider this a better low. And that's relative equal lows as well. Or no, not relative equal, but this low right here. So let's see. I don't know if we'll get trading for today. Looks like we could possibly reject out of it. That's a 5-minute. Go on the 1 minute. Okay, so it looks like we're going lower. Don't really know where though. Okay, well, just looking at this right here, I want to see continuations lower. Never got it, and we just started chopping around. Never got confirmation that we want to continue lower. So didn't take a short here to this low right here, and look what happens. We get pump up after that. So looks like we may be going higher, but there's really no draws higher. So today looks like a no trade day. Yeah, very, very choppy. So once you see this, you just want to hop off for the next day. Hopefully we get 3 more trades in. Okay, so all right, so it looks like this is kind of like all-time high conditions. Really nothing to our left. So when you're looking at all-time highs, you really just want to be kind of just longing, and you want to be looking for deep retraces and then longs back to highs. So looks like we rebalanced into this 4-hour gap right here. So after that, we could potentially reject out of it and look for continuations long. So that is the plan. Looking at this 1 hour though, this is not very good price action. We're kind of in a range, which is not what we want to be trading in. Yeah, 15-minute, very rangy. So we'll see if we get any trends up. We want to have a clear direction on a lower time frame if we do take a long. Okay. Well, we just took that. We have news at 7. See if we create some data highs, but we are very choppy now. So, and we got no data highs. So yeah, when you see stuff like this, when prices is ranging up and down, there's really nothing you should be looking for. Once this draw right here, this high got taken, you just want to hop off. So market open kind of pumped us up to that high right there. So fortunate, you'd have, if you want to take an entry to that, get a winning day or something, you'd have to take a mid-entry candle, but nothing on backtests. So we'll go to the next day. Same thing, go to the 4-hour time frame. All right, so it looks like we rebalanced. Now we're trending higher. So where could we be trending higher? We have this high right here. So looking at the 1 hour, yep, same thing, just trending higher, clear one direction. And it looks like we're already getting some sort of retrace. So as you can see, we pumped up on the 15-minute, and then we're pre-market, we're getting a retrace. We could potentially pump out of this retrace at market open. 5-minute, not very nice, very rangy right there. So yeah, you do want to be cautious when you see the 1 minute looking very rangy and choppy like this. So let's see what happens at market open. All right, very wicky, going down. Look at the higher time frame. We do have this 1 hour gap right here, potentially that I could reject off of. So we'll see how that holds. Not holding, coming higher. Let's see. We didn't tap into this. Did we reject off of any 4 hours? No, we didn't. But this is a very, very nice draw on liquidity. So we'll see how this. We have a big 5-hour gap, 5-minute gap right here. So we could potentially, we're tapped into it right now, we could potentially go lower, and if we go lower, then price will want to go lower. I just do not see any lower draws. So these are our conditions right now. 5-minute gap right here. See how this 5-minute gap holds right here. And we also have this 1 hour gap still that could potentially get held on to. So let's see. Okay, so that's nice right here. Price wants to go higher. I'm gonna have this right here. So we have a nice 1-to-1. I'm gonna give a little bit of room just because we are kind of blasting the top. So I do want to give a little bit of room to retrace, but I don't think with this kind of displacement, I don't think we should really be wanting to go lower. There is some room to displace and trend lower or retrace on, but I'm expecting higher price action. So we'll place this right here. But yeah, don't really have a place to go break even though. So that's one con to this trade. Okay, play one more candle. Oof. Okay, nice. So I want to play one more candle just because after seeing this candle right here, if you go break even, there is still a chance that we come back down. So if we had taken another bullish candle like this where it formed full, if you guys can see that right here, if the next candle after this candle right here was bullish, I would have just gone break even, but I didn't go break even after this candle just because there's a chance to be wicked down and I don't want to get wicked out. This draw right here is pretty clear to me. Looking at the 4 hour, it's pretty clear just looking at this. You can see that price is clearly going up. This high looks like it wants to get taken. You expect this high to get taken, and then after it gets taken, it can rebalance, but you don't expect it to start rebalancing first before taking this high. So that draw is pretty clear to me. And why did I enter? Looking at the 1 hour time frame, we had tapped this 1 hour gap, and it could potentially respect it. Looking at the 1 hour, it did look like it wants to go below it, but you have to remember that for this 1 hour gap, 1 hour candle form, it takes 1 full hour to form. And looking at this after this 1 hour forms, it clearly rejected off of it. So looking at the 5-minute 2, we had this 5-minute gap right here. I'll take off this 1 hour right here, but we had this 5 hour gap or 5-minute gap right here, and we can use that as a possible condition. If we were truly bearish, we would respect this 5-minute bearish fair value gap and we would stay slower. But if we start inverting it right here, I want to wait, see if we get some sort of displacement down. If we got displacement down, that means we're rejecting off the 5-minute gap. But if we continue displacing higher, then that meant that we were looking to target higher drawn liquidities. And the drawn liquidities right here, we had the 1 hour gap that I was rejecting off of. And after seeing this nice displacement right here, logically thinking, we are not going to go lower. We're looking to invert this 5-minute gap right here, and we want to continue higher. And the reason my stop loss is a little bit bigger is just because we really didn't get like a retrace like this, something like this. If we had retraced like this and then I entered right here, I would have my stop right here, but we really don't have any internal highs. So I'm kind of entering the trade at the top and I'm giving it room to breathe, to retrace and then go higher. But I'm not expecting this 5-minute gap to hold. It looks like it wants to clearly get displaced through with this 5-minute gap, and I'm not expecting price. I'm betting on price to not retrace really. But if it does retrace, I do have it, giving it some room to breathe. So cool. We have 3 trades so far. Let's try to get 2 more trades in. All right. So yep, same thing. Always go higher time frame, and yeah, it looks like price created a high. It took out this buy side liquidity right here on the 4 hour. Now it looks like it's rejecting, and where can it possibly reject to? It can reject and rebalance into this 4 hour gap right here. So after seeing that, that's really the main draw on liquidity for today. We're looking for shorts into this 4 hour gap, and on top of that, we also have relative equal lows right here, which is nice. So let's see if we get displacement down. Not really sure why price decides to pump and dump like that. Maybe some sort of news came out. I don't know, but yeah, that's not very nice looking. Is that a data high? Okay, that is a data high. It got taken. We also had a data low that got taken. So after taking out this data low, actually there may not be a trade today. We took out this data low, and after taking out this data low right here, we started chopping around. So there is a chance that price just continues to chop around. So we have to be more hesitant. No market conditions. When a draw liquidity gets taken, there is a good chance that we start chopping around, and once it starts chopping around, that means the objective for the day got taken. And after this day low got taken, it looks like it's chopping around. So objective might have been done for the day. So let's see what happens at market open. Okay, so it looks like we're displacing lower. The only place that can displace lower is this 4-hour gap right here. So let's see if we get some sort of retrace and confirmation out of it to this low. Okay, well that's kind of a big retrace. Not something we want to, not something we really like. Okay, let's see if we get one more candle down. Okay, this is very, very choppy. See all these wicks? This is what we don't like. So whenever you see this, just know market conditions are bad, and it's better to just stay out. So it looks like this will hit. I don't want to take this. This is not very nice just because conditions are not very good, but we are getting displacement down, and there's a chance that we do hit this. But do you really want to risk your money taking this trade right here? This is more like a gamble trade. So I'm not going to take it. If I had to take it, I would have gone breaking at these, and we would have gone break even, but something I'm not willing to take on X phase. So yeah, it looks like that got taken, and right after taking it, looks like we reject off of it. So that's how you know there was a lot of liquidity right here. We're instantly rejecting off of it. So after a draw gets taken, looking at the 4-hour, really nothing lower to target. There's this big 4-hour gap, nothing's going to be able to target inside there. So after that gets taken, just move on with the next day. So, all right, looks like we dumped. Wow, very big dump. Okay, so this is not very good, just because we took out all this sell side liquidity right here. Looks like we're rejecting off of it. So now we could rebalance. Where could we rebalance to? We could rebalance to this 4-hour gap right here. So let's see if we get an entry to that. But overall, we are bearish. Just this big 4-hour gap right here, big 4-hour candle right here shows that we could be going down. So let's see if we rebalance. If we don't, then I don't really want to target this low just because that low is used to take out this liquidity right here. So this might be a no trade day. Looking at the 1 hour, it's very choppy. Okay, let's see. 15-minute, not the greatest looking. I don't know. I don't know if this is a data low. Okay, that's actually a data low. So that could actually potentially get targeted. So we'll keep that in mind if we start heading that way. So okay, so it looks like we could possibly go higher. Look at gaps. 15, there's really no gaps just because we've been ranging. This is not enough for me to take a long. Yep, so you don't want to be taking longs off of, even though we're getting retrace, you think the draw is higher, getting a retrace, getting a nice candle up, that's not enough confirmation. I need at least 2 candles really. Unless the candle is very, very big, then I can take a big displacement candle up. But this right here is not enough confirmation for me that I want to go up, and look what happens. If I entered right here, it would have gone stopped out right here. That's always why I wait for a second candle to start forming at least, or at least get a candle closure. So keep playing more candles. See what price wants to do. So it looks like we are going higher, but really not clean price action. Yeah, no. Okay, well that's a nice displacement down. Nice confirmation up. Looking at the 13-minute or the 15-minute time frame, looks like the clear draw is this right here. Looks like it wants to get taken. It's just I don't really like how this is so big. I would prefer to get a fill right here, honestly, and have my stop all the way. I would have my stop right here, but maybe maybe it wicks down a little bit and we can potentially get fill. So I'm gonna do a limit order. If we don't get filled, then it's whatever. But looking at the 5-minute right here, the 5 minutes not very clean, but this is nice displacement. So I would probably in real time I would have mid entered candle somewhere around here, and had my stop loss right here. So let's see if we get filled. I doubt we get filled. I'll put it right here to see. Hopefully we get filled, just to see. But real life, I would enter right here. So let's just, you know, consider getting filled somewhere around here and see if that would have to get played out. But this is just nice retracement. Even though we didn't retrace into any gaps right here, there is nice displacement towards a draw. Nice draw right here. Nice displacement. So that's what I'm looking for. So we're going to place a limit order, but let's just act like we got filled right here, and hopefully we get filled in. Okay, so yeah, never got filled in, unfortunately. So I'm going to count that as a trade. That's 4 trades right there. So I'm going to count that as a trade. I would have entered mid-candle right here, though, and gone break-even after taking out this internal high right here. So yeah, that's 4 trades right there. Unfortunate that, you know, that's one thing I don't like about backtesting, because you can't really take mid-entry candles. So after that gets taken, let's see what happens. Do we chop around? No, we actually continue higher, but there's really nothing to go higher just because we're in this big void right here. There's nothing to target inside of this gap. So we're going to go to the next day. Next day open. Okay, so looking at this right here, it looks like, you know, we're in this big 4-hour gap right here, which is not ideal. We don't really want to be resting inside of gaps, just because I don't know if we want to reject off of it and go lower, or if we want to, you know, you don't really want to be longing inside of 4-hour bearish gaps. You want to be shorting when you're inside of a bearish gap. But the only really near target is down here, looking at the 1 hour. You know, we have this low right here, which is about 100 points away, which is pretty far, but we are resting inside of this big hour gap. So you don't really know what's going to happen inside this gap, unfortunately. So take this off. We'll see what kind of happens. We'll just play at market open, see what happens. Yeah, and this does not look very good on the 5-minute either. 5-minute looks very bad. 15-minute looks very bad. Just very low volume. This is very, very low volume. When you see no fair value gaps like this, and just a bunch of wicks, no fair value gaps really, besides this one right here, that's how you know there's low volume and price is not trending in one direction. That means it's very choppy on the lower time frames. So let's see what happens. And we continue to range. Yep, so that's how you know conditions are bad, when you just see very, very bad volume and you just see very, very rangy price action. Looking at this is going up, down, up, down, up, down. So there's really no targets higher. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, the only really draw higher is this right here. Maybe we can potentially get a entrance to that. We are inside of this 1-hour gap right here. It looks like it's trying to invert it, so we could potentially actually target that. Cool. See if price wants to get all the way up there, but we have very, very low volume. It's already almost, it's 7:30 already. I don't usually stay on too long. I usually stay on till like 7:30, maybe 8 if there's a draw. The only reason I'm staying on right now is because we have a draw higher. So let's see if we get entry to that. Like I said, I like to wait for 2 candles, and we only have 1 candle right now. I don't really like this. Let's see, look at the 4-hour. I mean, draw is clear. It looks like it wants to go higher. It's just this was not a very, very deep retrace. It didn't tap into any fair value gaps. Okay. I'm going to take this just because looking at the 30-second. I don't usually use 30 seconds, but we are respecting this 30-second fair value gap, gain nice displacement out of it. So my plan actually is to, the draw is still pretty kind of far looking at this. My plan is to have my stop loss right here. I don't want to go stop loss right here just because that's a pretty tight stop. I'm going to give it some room, stop loss right there, go break even after taking this high right here, targeting this right here. So we'll take this trade, but this is not really my favorite trade. But overall, still taking a trade just because looking at the 4-hour time frame, you can see clear draw on liquidity higher. Looking at the 1 hour, we have this condition right here, this 1 hour gap. It got inverted. It's displacing through it. and I'm expecting this high to get taken before we go lower all the way down here. So we have, looking at the 15-minute, clear direction, looking at this, nice hook candles on the 15, 5-minute, same thing, 1 minute. We're getting a little bit of retrace right here. Didn't retrace into any gaps, which is kind of unfortunate that there's no gaps. That's just a sign of low volume. But we do get, 2 candles right here, bullish candles. We have a break-even point that we can possibly go break-even at. Once it gets taken, clear draw liquidity. So I don't usually use the 30-second, but this was what got me to actually want to think and actually take the trade. Is just because we're getting some volume on the 30-second. Respecting this 30-second gap right here, got nice volume out of it. So I'm expecting to at least be able to go break even by hitting this high right here. So let's see what happens. Hopefully we just rip through this. Okay, so we did tap this right here. Like I said, that was my break-even point. But if I were to go break even, we're basically just going to get break even because there's a very good chance that we wick down and get me break even. So I'm going to hold on. Hopefully we get some sort of next candle is displacing through it. So let's see. Oof, not my favorite candle. Okay, that's nice. Hopefully the second candle, next candle after this displaces through. If it displaces through, then I'll go break even. Okay, that's not nice. This is just very, very choppy. So if we hit this again one more time, I'm going to go break even. Okay. I got saved there, hopefully, maybe. What does the 5-minute look like? Okay. Okay, looks like we're retracing on the higher time frame. So it looks like we might tap into this 5-minute gap, maybe. So there's a good chance that we get stopped out. This is not ideal. Okay, nice. Going break even. Let's see. Have this 1-minute gap right here. Hopefully we respect it. Okay, nice. I'm gonna move stop loss, trail it to below this low right here. Nice, cool. All right, that was 5 trades right there. So that was trying to just a little preview of giving you guys a little insight on how I trade my thought processes. It's very, very simple. I just react to what the market is giving me. So we'll just kind of overview what I look for again. I'll type this out. So first thing, look at the higher time frame trend. Higher time frame trend. Higher frame trend. What is that? That is equal to the 4 hour first, and then I also look at the 1 hour and 1 hour. So yeah, what do I do? If you rewind all my trades, I look at the higher time frame, start out on the 4 hour, see if we're trending bullish or bearish. We're clearly trending bullish in this condition right here. Looking at these candles right here, they're full right here, clearly looking like it wants to go higher. And so once I see where the trend is, I look for a draw liquidity. So what draw liquidity do we have? We look for first, let me write this, number 1, higher time frame trend. 2, okay, so once you know the higher time frame trend, where is the draw liquidity for that trend? Oop, I can't spell. Higher time frame trend. All right, so if we're trending bullish on the higher time frame, we want to look for bullish draw liquidity. So that's going to be our draw liquidity. And for draw liquidities, I look at the higher time frames for draw liquidity. I don't look at the 1 or 5 or 15-minute for draw liquidities. I look at the 4 hour and the 1 hour. And when price is making higher highs and higher lows like this, if we're rebalanced already, then I look to target this high right here. And then if I look to target this high. If we're like this, then if it had already taken the buy side liquidity right here, then I can actually look to target rebalances. Because after it takes liquidity, you're expecting some sort of rebalance. So targeting 4 hour gaps and shorting it into the 4 hour gaps like that. So that's basically it. Once you find a draw liquidity, you want to wait for it to trend on the lower time frame. Look at the 1 minute time frame, look for it to start trending. And then once you look for it, once it starts trending in one direction on the 1 minute, You just want to look for some sort of retracement. And that's ideally you want a retracement into some sort of fair value gap, like a 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute fair value gap, and see if it gets respected. So retracement into 1 minute, 1/5/15 minute fair value gaps. Once it retraces into that fair value gap, that's when you want to look for confirmation out of that fair value gap. So for confirmation. And what do I mean by confirmation? I want to see displacement out of that fair value gap. And not just one candle, because one candle does not tell me enough if we want to actually come out of that fair value gap. I wait for at least one candle, and then depending on the second candle, if there's a lot of volume, I'll take a mid candle entry. Or if there's not a lot of volume, I'll wait for at least 2 candles confirming displacing out of that fair value gap. So 2 displacing candles. Displacing out of fair value gap. And then if you follow that means if you follow these conditions right here, then that means if you get some sort of retracement, that means you should have an internal low or internal high, depending if you're shorting or longing. And you want to be taking your entry before that internal high or internal low gets taken. Just because I use those internal lows, internal highs as break-even points. Because if you think about it, if price is coming down and it's coming back up, you want to go breaking at the internal high, because once it takes that internal high is some sort of liquidity. So there's a chance that we reject off of taking that internal high. So you want to go break even, go risk free, and once you're risk free, then the trade can do whatever it wants. Hopefully it hits your TP, but if it gets break even, then at least you got break even and you didn't end on a loss. So that's about it. That's how that's what I look for every day when I'm trading. I always start out higher time frame, look where the draws are, then wait for price to trend in that direction. Once it starts trending, wait for some sort of retracement. And once you get retracement, see if it retraces into any sort of gaps, wait for displacement out of that retracement, take a trade, go break even once you can go break even, and then you just repeat that. And this system has been very, very well for me. It's a very high win rate trade. I don't think we took any losses actually in this backtesting session, which is pretty cool. I did only take 5 trades, and in backtesting you can't really take mid candle entries, which I do a lot in live markets. But yeah, little overview on how this model works. Simple continuation strategy. And yeah, I'm glad I was able to get this out for you guys. You guys have been requesting this a lot. If you do have any questions, DM me on Instagram. Leave my Instagram in the description below. It's at @TheJamesRodriguez. And yeah, that's all I really have for you guys. So I appreciate you guys for watching if you stayed to the end. And make sure you like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.